Now, as I stated in the first part of this recording, the reason why the best government Kenya has had so far is having such a hard time, as far as being able to sell the achievements to the people of Kenya, or at least a section of the people of Kenya, is because the standards have gone much higher than what we expected from previous governments. The other thing that has happened, and this is something which whoever takes over as the next government, even if it's the current government, should pay special attention to, is the fact that some of our problems are really bigger than what they may appear on the outside, or what they may appear to be, at first glance. For instance, the Jubilee government has spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and a lot of resources in trying to improve the economy of the country. Okay, they have had face-to-face discussions, meetings, links with key industries, for example, like tourism, and so on and so forth. However, even after all this hard work, we have not been able to see any concrete results. And as I've said, one of the reasons is that some of the problems we have in Kenya, especially in the business sector, for instance, are so deep, so serious, that they will take some time to turn around. Turning around is not as easy as it may seem. Okay, that's one reason. The other reason is that there are so many other factors that have an impact. For example, if you want to improve the economy, there are so many other factors that have an impact which the Jubilee government has not paid enough attention to. For instance, the overall well-being and income per capita of individuals in the country has to improve for you to have a real impact in the economy. Okay, now that of course includes things like jobs. They have not paid enough attention to creating more jobs, because that is a key area. There's no way you're going to improve the economy of the country without first of all taking a look at job creation. Okay, now the plan they had fell a bit short. Part of the plan was that with large infrastructural projects like the SGR, it was expected that this would have a trickle-down effect, in that the employment it would create would trickle down and the effect would be felt right across the country. It didn't quite work out like that. One of the reasons is because of the crafty Chinese. The Chinese are just too crafty, and this government should have known that when you work with the Chinese, trickle down is very difficult, because they tend to keep key parts of their technology to themselves, and they guard it jealously. They tend to keep a lot of things to themselves. They tend to create situations whereby you'll have to rely on them for a lot of things. So this minimizes, at the end of the day, it minimizes the kind of tenders, contracts being given out to ordinary Kenyans, the kind of contracts and tenders which create jobs for ordinary Kenyans. It really limits that. It limits them much more than what you can see on paper when you are actually signing the agreement. Okay, so that is one aspect. Now, unfortunately, in life, people don't get points. They don't get marks for effort. Unfortunately, you either get the answer right or wrong. So if the answer is wrong and you put in a big effort, you're still wrong. So this is one of the unfortunate things, which, by the way, is a very important area for, in case we have a change of government, it is a very important area for a new government which cockily comes in and says, oh, we're going to change, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to make an impact, to lose a ball. It is good also to examine what those before you have done, where they went wrong, where they had challenges. That is the only way they're going to be able to achieve more than this government has done. Now, I'm sure you'll be asking yourself, why haven't I commented on corruption? Now, this is a scorecard. Now, when you're doing a scorecard, you do not say, since you have been, in the past, you've been performing poorly in maths, and since you have also performed poorly on maths, we're going to nail you down because of mathematics. That would be an unfair thing, because as I told you, I'm comparing this to past governments. Okay, it is true that corruption has gone overboard. That is true. However, I've left corruption out of this because of one very important reason, which I've mentioned before. I do not condone corruption, and I do not support corruption. Corruption is very evil. But I took you back to the year 2003 when Mwai Kibaki took over the government. Okay, it was zero tolerance to corruption. What did we see happen? Okay, so what we need in Kenya is a complete overhaul of our system of governance, yeah, especially where the presidency is concerned, because it would seem to me that it is impossible to run a government in Kenya without corruption. Okay, and it's very unfortunate, and this is a very sad thing for me to say, and I know a lot of people will not take it well, but I repeat again, although I know it will fall on deaf ears, I do not support corruption. I'm just being realistic, and I'm comparing these governments to past governments. Where things have gone overboard are the amounts of money that have been involved in the corruption of this government. That one has gone completely overboard. Yeah, but I'm sure what I'm talking about is that I'm sure when I started this, a lot of you should have expected me to put corruption at the top of my list. I'm just now explaining why I didn't. Yeah, and I'm also explaining why I'm still judging this government as the best government Kenya has had so far, comparing it to the others. The others also had mega corruption. Granted, maybe the amounts were less. Yeah, not maybe the amounts were less. Yeah, but all the previous governments had corruption. Yeah, so corruption did not start with this government. Yeah, and if you want to give a fair scorecard, surely you will see my point. Having said that, again, in case we have a change of government, I do not expect the new government to deal with corruption overnight. That is a fact. Yeah. In fact, if we have a change of government, the next government will have to be very careful. Otherwise, it could be worse on corruption than the current government. I'm just being realistic. I know my views are not going to be taken well, but those are my views. Now I'll mention some failures. The biggest failure of this government, according to me, the biggest failure was to fail to try and heal the country, to fail to try and unite the country. Yeah, considering what we've come from. Yeah, I believe there's been too much an element of tribalism. There's been too much of this government looking like it's from two communities. That has been a major failure of this government. I know it is competitive politics. I know in competitive politics you have to rally your troops, and you rally your troops from where you know you'll get them. I understand that. However, tribalism in Kenya is one evil that we must address, and for that the Jubilee government has got no excuse. And that is one of the reasons why they have the problems they have today, where people feel this government has not been inclusive enough. Yeah, there's that strong feeling right across the country, and that's the reason for that. Okay, therefore, while I know, like the president must have had good intentions, it did not come out like that in the end. Why? Because tribalism reared its ugly head and ruled everything. That is my honest view of the scorecard of the Jubilee government. Going forward, I believe Kenyans should expect even more. I believe the standards that will be set for the next government will be even higher. Even if Jubilee comes back to power, there will be much higher expectations to them. If the opposition comes into power, there will be much higher expectations from them. Yeah. So it is okay to campaign and promise heaven on earth, but it's a completely another ball game to actually deliver, even on 10% of your promises. Okay. So that's my honest view. This is Kumekucha. Till next time. Thank you.